The number one mistake that trainers are making right now is scrambling to put things up, to put videos up, create live workouts without a progression. So what's happening is and when I say throwing it up, that ends up looking and feeling a lot like vomit. This is Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to the Voice for Fitness Professionals podcast, where I help provide you with the ideas for marketing and sales that help you grow a business and a life you love, even in these very uncertain times we're in. So I'm here with a series of interviews, and today it's just me, and I'm diving into what I'm seeing online, what other professional friends and colleagues and I are discovering is going to be a problem in the fitness industry and part of the downfall for some trainers, but also provide an opportunity for others. And that is what I want for you. There is an organized way to go about even this place that feels like you're anything but organized, that none of us were prepared for this, knew to prepare for it. And yet the digital age was always there. There were people taking a chunk of your business if you're in a brick and mortar only, seeing people face to face only all of the time. So not just other things that your clients and customers wanted to do with their time and their money and their energy. We always have competed with that. Not just other gyms and clubs and studios that were popping up all over the place, or trainers who deliver in-home workouts, but also now online. Any online trainer or health coach has access to anyone in the world if they do a good enough job of marketing to that person. So now we're all on an equal playing field, but it's not so equal if you've been only seeing people face to face. You are very much probably feeling out of control and scrambling and nervous about your future, and with every reason to do so. What I'm hoping here is to give you some hope and some actionable items, because everyone feels more in control when they feel like they're in action. The challenge is we want you to move in the right direction. So what I'm going to give you here is 3 major tips, and dig into each one of them in this brief video or brief audio, talking a lot about video, so that you can create a sense of calm in all of this chaos. So I'm going to start with 3 things that I want you to do to help yourself, because before you can help your customers, and I'm going to talk about how you can help your customers more, even if maybe you want to reach a new customer, not just the ones you were reaching. But you can't do that without taking great care of yourself. And right now, you need to be observing as much self-care as your clients and your customers do. And potentially, you may be in a place where you fly to the top of that list, because let's face it, sometimes our clients, our customers financially may be better off than we are, more stable. Maybe they're doing something else that isn't shut down for the moment, at least. And they aren't working coast to coast from AM to PM or paycheck to paycheck. So if that happens to be you right now, I really want you to focus on you first. Make sure you're taking care of you first. All of the awesome advice that you've given out all of these years, turn and shine it on you for a while. And I want you to do this. First of all, create for yourself a routine. If you are suddenly without clients, you don't have a schedule anymore, you can't go see clients. Some of those clients, maybe you aren't training them online on Skype or FaceTime. You're not working with them on Zoom. You're not doing telephone conferencing calls. You're just not working with them. And maybe that's policy for your club, or maybe it's just something that your clients weren't interested in doing without having access to facilities. Create a routine for yourself now that you're left without one. So put everything on it from the moment you wake up to the hour that you go to bed or should go to bed. Put on there every single hour. So you can do it by the half an hour or not, but just make yourself one form and do it. Create that schedule and then stick to it. So whether you start at 6 and you look at, okay, here's 6 o'clock, here's 6:30 a.m., here's 7 a.m., here's 7:30 a.m. What are you going to be doing at each one of those? And you may have blocks of time, but I want you to get everything on there, everything. And we'll talk about some of the pieces under everything in a moment. So that's your wake up. That's what happens during that first hour. That's when is your exercise. That's when are you eating? What else do you have to do while you're at home? If you have children or a family, are there things there and you're covering childcare or you're entertaining kids? What's going on there? Are you homeschooling? Are you trying to shop? Are you trying to do some meal prep and get some things into the freezer, make room just in case of quarantine? We may already be there by the time this comes live. Are you reading? Are you stretching? Are you connecting with your clients and customers, your audience? All of those things, I want you to write them down. And on that list should come connecting with consistent and with higher frequency than you may be ever having done live Facebooks or live Instagrams or live YouTube screaming or all of the above at the same time. If you've got 3 devices, that's something you should be looking into, but they need to hear from you. So we'll come back to that. But right now, I want you to create that routine and write down every possible thing that should be on it. And I want you to, this is a piece of this schedule, but I want you to, for every day, choose 3 tasks that fall under the umbrella of productivity that you're going to commit to working on and give yourself a deadline for finishing them. You may not yet know what those things are, and I'm going to get to that last. That is the big number 3. Number 1 is create a routine. Get your schedule down on paper. Stick to it. Because life is not normal, you're not in a routine, and now you need one that'll help you, give you a sense of calm. Then choose 3 tasks, 3 productivity tasks that you're going to commit to doing, and potentially you're going to get them done, but you may actually find this is a 3-day thing that you need to do. Probably committing to one thing for a solid day is a smart thing to do. You're going to get done faster with something that is an end product that you can begin using than if you work on 3 at once and then keep none of them finished for more days. So if we were looking at how to make your time more productive, you're going to focus on one thing until you finish it, because then you can monetize it. If you're focusing on 3 things and you're working here and then later you go and work on this, you actually never get anything done and monetize it in a timely manner. Right now, probably finding a new source or a steady source of income and revenue is what we're really most concerned about. So I want to help you get to that point. So you're going to, even if right now you don't know what they are, choose no more than 3 things to focus on. Maybe there are things that you have to do, and maybe one of those things is actually checking in with your audience and doing a live. But we're going to come back to what blocks of time you'll use for those. So maybe from 9 to 11, you're focusing on something. Maybe from your 12 to 3 or 2, you're focused on something else. From 2:30 to 4:30, you're focused on something else. And then you're giving yourself breaks in between, chances to check email, check the news, see what's happening, connect with other people for yourself as well as for the news. But number 3 is the big one. So we've already done creating a routine. You're going to choose 3 tasks that you're working on, and they could be 3 tasks relative to the same project. And that would mean maybe that your rough draft of your ebook that you're creating is something you're focused on for 2 hours in the morning. Maybe then in the afternoon, you're going to focus on how are you going to plant the seed for somebody to get that ebook or graphics that you might be wanting to create, and where are you going to get those images and the pictures. Those might be things that you're doing. So you're pulling it all together, getting it pretty close to done, even within the first day, polishing it up, finishing up, sending it off on the second. So ideas, those are just ideas. But the third and the final step is actually figuring out some brainstorm ideas here for what's going to be your new reality. So as things go forward, your life, your training business, your coaching business does not have to be what it was in the past. You have an opportunity to change your future and to change literally what you want your life to be like. What do you want your business to be like? We will all have some changes, but we are not going back. You're not going to go back to the way it was before. And if there was ever a time when you had looked at your life and you didn't love it before the coronavirus and all of this happened, take the opportunity now to look at what would you love to be different about it. Would you like to be working for somebody else or for yourself? Would you like to be working with a different clientele? Are you attracting the wrong kind of people? People who maybe struggle to afford your services when you'd like to be attracting and targeting people, excuse me, who have the value and the knowledge about health and wellness and want to and are ready to invest in themselves. There are a lot of different things that you should consider, but you need to sit down with that and decide what it is first. But in these crazy times, you as a personal trainer have the ability to create something from nothing. And I want you to think about that. So literally, before you work with client, if they've never worked with anyone before, it's not as if the personal training service that you created, the personal training program that you created ever existed before. You sold that to them, or somebody did. And the more you sell your own, the better. You can control your future when you can do that. But if you create something that wasn't there and existing in the first place, and then you sell it, that is creating money, and you control your future. So the key to that is finding out, what do people want? What's their biggest problem right now? What's the biggest challenge? And what do they need help with? Because especially right now, when people begin to tighten up and have concern about their future, their finances, as well as you, they're not going to spend something just frivolously. It's got to serve a need. So you need to look first at, what's the number one problem that the people that you want to work with have right now? What are their challenges? Right. Just stop right there and write. What's the answer to that question? So first, there's two things there. You've got to know, who is it that you want to work with? You don't work with everybody. You don't work with both men and women. You don't work with people in their 20s and their 60s or 70s. You've got to focus on a group. It doesn't mean that you won't work with somebody else, but you have to know one person who is your perfect client and customer better than anyone else in the world who also serves them, knows them. And you cannot do that if you're shooting at a target that includes everyone in the world. So narrow it down and get focused. Know who it is. And then, what's their number one problem? That's easy. The answer to that question is easy once you know who your person is. Then I want you to write down, what is your skill set right now? What skills do you have? What are you good at? So not just your personality here. Literally, it's got to be a piece of, what's your skill set? What can you do? What do you have experience doing? What are you trained to do? What do you do really well? And what do people keep coming to you for? Write all of that down. And there may be something here that you're not even doing, but you'd love to do. It's a skill you have, but you haven't been able to use it. Maybe because you were hired by somebody who saw you, put you in a position, and a lot of your skills are going unused. So write down anything in this box. And then write down also, what skills do you need right now? What do you still need? So here's an example. I mean, we're in this place in time where a lot of trainers are scrambling to get their business, their service now online. They're creating live videos, live workouts, recording workouts, putting them on their membership site, putting them on a YouTube channel, some of them trying to charge for them instead of being givers, which is what people in crisis do who come out of it ahead. So just a word on that. But a skill you may need is actually, how do I bring my business online? How do I get digital and eventually monetize it? Right now, in this crisis, in this last week or so, as I'm doing this, this is March 22nd. In this last week or two, it was not the time to be making offers for online programs. As we come into this, you may decide you're going to drop your rates if you're already offering online services. You may decide you're going to add value to what you're doing already. And a piece of that is mindset. And I'm going to talk further about that in another podcast because it is another piece that you need to keep in mind more than ever. You've got to be thinking that there are people right now who can afford and for whom health and their immune system is more important than ever. And they are ready to invest if the right person and the right opportunity appears. So you've got to figure out what your message is, who you're marketing it to, so that you can get in front of them. But what skills do you still need? Do you need to know, how do I create an online digital course or an online membership that is high quality and that people would pay for? Here's the number one mistake that trainers are making right now as they're scrambling to put things up. They're putting up videos just randomly without progression. So personal training directors are rounding up instructors and trainers and saying, what can you create a video on? What can you create a video on? What do you want to do? What kind of workout do you want to do? There's no progression here. We're just throwing things up. And by that, I literally mean it's like vomit. So there's no difference if that's what you're doing. And there is no, here's a first workout, here's a second workout, here's a third workout progression. You're not really serving individuals. So this is not personal training. So you've really got to think about, what are you doing? So think about, what would be the difference between you and somebody randomly going to YouTube and just pulling up, I need a beginner core exercise. I need a beginner cardio, beginner interval training. I need an advanced weightlifting session. They're going to be able to find it easily. Why you? What's the difference? You've got to be able to answer that question and figure out a way to actually plot this out so your customer journey still matters, or potentially we all lose to the random videos because nobody is getting the message across that you still are an individual who's starting at this point right here, wanting to go there. And there are steps between that you need to walk through, and that you or I can help you with that. That's the message that you need to get to somebody. And by just putting random videos up that your trainers or you or your instructors or you put up, then we've just got more random exercise solutions. And here's the real problem with that. Right now, people actually don't need more workouts. Everybody's throwing their workouts up. And I say that again, and it makes me laugh. It's not very funny, but it is truly like vomit. Everybody and everywhere you look, fitness pros are doing, here's a live workout. Here's a live workout. But nobody says, this is best for you if A, B, and C. There are going to be some moves in here that compromise your knees, hips, shoulders. There's nothing there that really gives high quality exercise to people. And we're all forgetting the point. Right now, immune boosting exercise is very different than what someone may have been doing 2 weeks ago. So we've got to get them away from endurance exercise. We've got to get them away from long, intense interval training workouts. We've got to get them away from doing hour-long sessions of anything. And we've got to get them away from doing too much of anything. If they're tired and exhausted, instead of having more energy, they've done too much, and we've depleted their immune system and contributed to the problem, not to the solution. So you want to be ahead of the game. You want to be out there talking to customers and clients about beware. I know there are a lot of options out there. So this is what you might say. Tell them, I know there are a lot of options out there right now, and it may seem like it's a smorgasbord or a potluck and you can just try everything you want to, but right now, while you're under so much stress, remember that exercise is stress. And if you break down your body faster than you're able to repair it and build it up, you're not actually helping your immune system, you're breaking it down. So we want you to stay strong, resilient, more flexible and mobile, and have strength and stamina to kick any virus's ass. That's what you want to be telling them. So I'm going to come back here. And once you've done this homework, so I've mentioned this like 1, 2, 3, do this, 3 questions to ask yourself, and it's not that fast. So what you should do when you shut this down is pick up your notebook and make some notes. Right before you go to sleep, make some notes. And right as soon as you wake up, make some notes, because at that time, right before and after you wake up, go to sleep, your mind is almost in trance-like state. And it's very meditative, and you'll get answers that you might not otherwise get. So take some time to actually look at those things. And one of the things that you want to do when you've nailed who it is that you want to target going forward, reach out to them with consistency and frequency. So there are a lot of people doing this, but there is room for you. If you already have a following, or you've got a handful of people, start reaching out to them. So consistently might mean for you every day at noon, your time zone, you go on live on Facebook, on Instagram, or on YouTube. And one of the ways to do that, Head and Shoulders. So I'm talking just connect with them. Don't work out with them until you know what they need, right? Don't just throw up a workout. Talk to them. What do they need? Maybe they need stretching. Maybe they need just relaxation and breathing. That's important. But you need to be there, and you actually need to be asking. So one of the things that should go on your routine, that you're creating that schedule for yourself, is a regular appearance somewhere. You can put up your laptop, you can put up your phone, and you can put up your desktop. And typically what I will do is on my laptop, I'll come into Facebook Live. On my phone, I will do Instagram Live, and on my desktop, I will be on YouTube Live and broadcast. If I'm doing Head and Shoulders, I can't use my desktop. Obviously, it doesn't work very well anyway. If I'm doing yoga or an interval training or strength training workout, I know who my target market is. I know who my community is. I am dealing and talking to and supporting women who are in midlife, in perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause, who are struggling with hormone imbalance, who probably have injuries like plantar fasciitis, knee issues, or hip bursitis, lower back issues, or shoulder issues. So I know I've got to be cautious, and I've got to talk to them about how they will modify certain moves. I've got to talk to them before I start a workout that is going to include a lot of upward or downward facing dogs. So if you have a shoulder issue, this is not your exercise today. Those things I know, and I can talk to them all day, every day, and have it be appropriate. Speak to them because I have one person in mind, or I have 2 or 3 people who are somewhere between 50 and 60 that have plantar fasciitis, that have a shoulder issue, that have belly fat, that have night sweats, that struggle with exercise. They're just getting back into it. I know who I'm talking to, and I can talk to them all day long. I can write copy in an email to them and in a post. I can speak to them on a video. And that's how well you want to know your people. So you're not blindly saying you all or everybody or hi everybody, because you've got to realize, if I did that right now, isn't that odd? Wouldn't that be odd to you if I said, hey everybody? Because I'm talking to you, right? You are one individual person having this come into your ear. So it's just you. You're it. So I'm hoping this has given you some steps, some tangible things and actions to do. Here's what I'm doing. I will share this. And here's what I'm not doing. All right. So when I wake up in the morning, it is so very tempting to open up email and see if my team has emailed me. But when I do that, I go down a rabbit hole, because I'll open up this and that and this and try to clean things up and delete things that shouldn't even be there. And then I'll inevitably open up something that is news or somebody else's marketing email to me. And then I have wasted the couple of hours that I'm the most creative in. So I don't open my email up. My team knows that I don't, and they will text me if there's an emergency or we're on fire. They won't text me if my site is down, because all I will do is panic and there's nothing I can do about it. They will tell me when it's fixed. That's it. But I will spend time already. For me, some of the best time is those first 2 or 3 hours in the morning. I will have a couple cups of coffee or matcha tea. So I'm alert and I don't get the jitters from the caffeine, but I get a lot of great ideas. And I do that work before I check any emails. And then I'll check emails. I'll have a little something to eat, do a little workout. I'm hopping in right now with my community at 9 a.m., my closed community membership, and doing a live workout with them for community's purpose. So it may be a short interval training workout. It may be a strength training workout. It was this morning. And then at 4 p.m., I'm between there, I'm doing meetings, or I am catching up with the news a little bit, limiting myself there, and making sure I'm eating well, drinking a glass of water every hour, getting outside, taking some sunshine in while I'm walking the dog. And then in the afternoon at 4 p.m. with my public page, I'm doing a community yoga give every day, 4 p.m. my time. So that's across the United States. That ends up being on the East Coast, 7 p.m. So then it's there. They know I'm there. They also, a lot of people who are not aware of who I am and how I teach and how I cue are getting used to me from that. And, at some point, we have a launch going on in a couple of weeks. We have programs starting April 1st. So it's a sensitive time to make offers. And, we're deciding how we're going to treat that. But some people right now, while it's at 50% off, are thankful that we're letting them know this is something that they can do right now. And we're happy to keep it open at 50% off for them. And we want them to have a good strength training program that they know, like, and trust, that the cues are there for them, that it was built for them. So those are a few of the things. And the last thing is I'm trying to increase my heat as often as possible. That boosts your immune system. So I'll get into my private sauna. I have a Solo from Sunlighten in my home. It's more or less like a sleeping bag, if you will. And you can see more about it at flipping50.com/resources if you want to learn more about it. But I'm drinking hot teas, hot liquids, hot bone broth. The exercise helps. Taking a hot bath about 90 minutes before I want to go to bed, and making sure I get to bed early. So I've been in bed by 9, if not beforehand, reading. And usually I'm up by 6. And if I could stay in bed that long, I will. Right now, it's my habit to be up a little bit earlier. But right now I'm letting myself sleep if I can, because we all need that rest more than anything. And You've got to keep that in mind. So I know those of you who have small kids maybe can't do that, but get every bit of rest that you can right now, because that's one of the keys to making sure your immune system stays strong. So what do you do when you're sick? You sleep all the time, pretty much, right? So do it now before you need it. So I hope those ideas have been helpful. I'm just going to recap them one more time. Number one is create a routine for yourself. Write it out. Get it on paper. Talk to your family members or your roommates, if that's the case, about what your schedule is so you can stick to it. The second is choose 3 tasks, and they may be related to the same product or project that you'll do on any given day, and you'll get done or you'll make progress on them. But you need to come up with an idea that you can monetize, and you'll do that by looking at your audience. Number one, what are the number one problems and challenges they have right now? Don't look at last week or 2 weeks ago. Look at right now. Is it that they're isolated? What do they need? What your skill set is, what skills you need right now to get help with. And be sure that if you're putting things up, that you are careful, that you're distinguishing yourself, not from just random videos, but literally there's a progression. They're going to start here and they're going to go here, and you're taking care of them. I hope it's been helpful. So please reach out, give your comments at the end of this podcast. Right now is absolutely the time to invest in yourself, to double down, because it's those trainers and coaches who are communicating with their audience and giving. It's staying in action. Don't go quiet. Don't go silent. Be heard from. It's you who will thrive. Right now is also a great time to invest in yourself in the Flipping 50 Fitness Specialist. Right now, there are still a few at 50% off through the rest of March. We've kept it open just because of Corona. So if you want to get started, now's the time. 50% off either the basic or the advanced that includes a mastermind so that I can help you position and brand yourself, create the packages and the pricing, leverage it, and get you started now. So what are you waiting for? You're making a difference in the world. Stay with it. You got this.